What is up, everyone? Welcome back to Packers Preview. Wes Hodkiewicz, joined alongside my colleague at Packers.com, Mike Spofford, back in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Mike, I love Brazil. I really enjoyed Brazil, I did, but I'll be honest with you, it's been nice being back home this week.
Absolutely. I realized the other day, like over the last month, between Cleveland and then Denver and then Brazil, we spent about 9 or 10 days like on the road, you know. So yes, it's nice to be back home. A noon Central Time kickoff for the home opener on Sunday. Can't wait.
All right, Michael. Well, the Green Bay Packers taking on the Indianapolis Colts. A noon Central start time, a game that can be watched on Fox. Again, Packers Preview brought to you by Microsoft Surface here. Mike and I will be here for the next 10 to 15 minutes answering all of your questions on X, YouTube, and Facebook. Submit those there. Our social team will funnel those over to me, and I will bounce them off the man himself, Mike Spofford. Before we jump into that, though, Michael, moments ago, one of the most highly anticipated, I think, injury reports we've probably had in the last, 5 years?
Yeah.
The Green Bay Packers did announce exactly what their game designations are for this, and among them, 3 questionable players. Jaden Reed, who was added to the injury report with a shin and calf injury, Marshawn Lloyd, who's coming back right now from the hamstring, and Jordan Love. The Green Bay Packers quarterback did not practice this week, but Matt LaFleur said when he went into the podium after practice, they still had some things to figure out, and one of those is Jordan Love being questionable for this matchup against Indianapolis.
Yeah, he's questionable. Matt LaFleur has said all week long they are leaving the door open for Jordan Love to play if he gets medically cleared from that knee injury. And so, you know, kickoff is a little less than 48 hours away, and a little less than that, the Packers will have to determine who the game day inactives are. So so there's time here for Jordan Love to get cleared, and maybe we'll see him out there. If not, we know that it'll be Malik Willis.
The first question I already saw here before we even dive into him was Rob Willer on X asking percent that Love plays. Rob, 50%. That would be my guess for you, is 50%.
That is the official definition of questionable for an NFL injury report. It's 50-50.
But I will say this, okay? The fact that we are 1 week removed from being in Sao Paulo, Brazil, you and I sitting up there at the top of Arena Corinthians, seeing Jordan Love go down with that injury,
and
watching the replays.
And go down in a lot of pain.
Watching the replays. The fact that we're even sitting here saying it's a questionable 50% chance he plays in this game, we'll see what happens on game day. We'll see how but this is really the best case scenario that Green Bay at least has been to this point. And Matt LaFleur, true to his word, saying that the door was going to be open, it's still very much open, and the Packers can hope at the very least, you know, they've averted disaster here with that knee.
Yeah, one week later for Jordan Love to be questionable. I don't know if he's going to play on Sunday or not. But even if he doesn't, you have to believe that this designation today, finding out he's actually questionable for this game, bodes well moving forward. And it's sort of the read that I've gotten from everything that Matt LaFleur has said and what we've heard about this injury is that it seems that Jordan Love is going to be back sooner than later. Nobody is saying exactly when, but it does not appear that this is a long-term injury by any stretch.
Okay, let's jump over to the questions. Again, Mike Spofford, Wes Hodkiewicz here, Packers Preview. Oh, before I do that, let's just mention, too, the Indianapolis Colts injury report. There actually were some big names on there. Julian Blackmon is out for this game with the shoulder injury. 3 players questionable, including DeForest Buckner, Kwity Paye, and also Josh Downs. Just to make reference to that, Downs was full participation today. Buckner did not practice. Paye returned in a limited capacity after not practicing on Wednesday and Thursday. So plenty of questions there as well for the Indianapolis Colts. All right, jumping right into it. This is on YouTube from Bryce Bernard. Hey, guys, do you think we will see more RPOs with Malik at quarterback? So let's live in the fantasy world right now, the hypothetical world, that it actually is Malik Willis that makes this start against the Indianapolis Colts. We both have done a lot of research on him here in the last, 17 days that he's been a member of the Green Bay Packers. If you had to devise the game plan with Malik Willis in mind, RPOs you would think would be a part of it, but to what extent? Probably not the same as what you do as with Jordan Love under center.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think you build more designed runs or at least options for runs into the offense for Malik Willis and allow him to use his legs to move the ball, to move the chains. The thing about RPOs, in some ways it becomes a simple adjustment in the sense that the Packers run RPOs with Jordan Love all the time. where he could hand the ball off or he could, cock the arm and throw the football, right? Well, all you do with Malik Willis is you add one more option to that, which is that he could hand the ball off, he could cock his arm and throw, or he could tuck the ball and run himself. So those RPOs are part of the Packers offense. The third option for Jordan Love to run is something we've only seen we saw it maybe once or twice, all of last year. So that's not a big part of things, but it's a small adjustment to make to give Malik Willis another option for what to do with the football.
Chio Walker on YouTube says, I would rather give Jordan the game off just to be safe. I mean, there is certainly a line of thinking to that. We have not seen Jordan all week. My eyes have not laid upon his. I don't know how he's feeling, how he's walking, how things are going. We do know he's been a guy that has been out at the practices when the media is not there. He's been bouncing a lot of things off of both Malik Willis and Sean Clifford as they try to get ready for this thing in case they both need to be active and available. But either way you slice it, I don't know, another person had asked on here, Wisco Fanatics, this one was on X, if Love doesn't play this week, what do you think about the Titans game if the Packers win against Indy? I don't think there's any scenario that's predicated on another, wins, losses, Titans, Colts, none of that matters. It comes down to ultimately what the Packers training staff, the Packers team doctors, and Jordan Love are seeing with that knee. And the biggest line, people will say this all the time where you hear these cliches and you're like, well, he keeps saying it, but there's a reason why Matt LaFleur has said countless times this week, they don't want to put him in a position where he can't defend himself.
Right.
Because this is a long game. He just signed a huge contract. He is a guy that is beloved in that locker room. The Packers want to extend this thing out as long as they can to keep that championship window open. You're not going to forsake all that if you don't feel like he's ready.
Yeah.
And my last thing I'll paint here in my own mind, I've covered this team for 12 years, Mike. I covered the Aaron Rodgers collarbone in 2013. I covered the Aaron Rodgers collarbone in 2017 along with yourself.
Right.
The Green Bay Packers training staff, the coaching staff, and obviously the medical staff, they are always going to err on the high side of caution. If Jordan Love's active on Sunday, it's because they felt confident enough in his knee and where things are at.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, I've been through those injuries you've mentioned, as well as other significant injuries to players over the years. This is my 19th season in this chair with Packers.com. The Packers medical staff makes its decisions in the best interest of the individual player, not necessarily the best interest of the team.
Right.
They, the players trust that the guys making those decisions on the medical staff have their best interests at heart. And that's why Matt LaFleur has continued to say all week, it's not a conversation about Jordan Love playing until he gets medically cleared. And in a way, that's Matt LaFleur's way of saying, I'm staying out of it.
Right.
When they say he's medically cleared, okay, then I'm going to sit down with Jordan and we're going to talk about, hey, this is what we can do, et cetera, et cetera. Until that happens, it isn't a conversation about him playing. Yeah. It's about the medical clearance first, and then can he get out there? What you said about him having to protect himself, is being able to protect himself, is absolutely 100%. It's not a matter of can Jordan Love, if with the left knee, that being his, front leg when he plants to throw the ball, it's not a matter of just that looking okay. He's got to be able to get away from pass rushers. He has to be able to not take the big hit that would potentially make that injury worse. When they get to that point, then he gets the medical clearance.
Vince Wilson on Facebook. One thing that was kind of a surprise today, amidst all this talk about Jordan Love, was the fact that Jaden Reed was added to the injury report.
Yeah, that was a surprise.
Shin and calf injury. Do you think that, this question's from Vince, do you think that Reed will play Sunday? Should I be worried about starting him in fantasy football? We don't know. I mean, the fact is that, with the limited designation, that can go so many different ways, right? Because that can be something where a player wakes up with something Friday morning, not feeling great, and they just monitor him throughout practice.
Right.
It can be sometimes where a guy practices in full, something happens, he's removed from practice, he still goes down as limited in that capacity. We don't know exactly how it goes. I didn't see Jaden in the locker room after Matt talked, so I don't know where things are at there. What we'll have to do is see what happens on Saturday, if there's any adjustments that are made with the injury report. That often does happen, not only in Green Bay, but across the National Football League. And then that 90 minutes beforehand. The one thing you have, Jeff, or was it Vince? I almost called him Jeff Wilson. Vince Wilson. Sorry, Vince. The one thing you have going for you is the fact that Jaden and the Packers are the noon early game. If he's not going or if he's limited, we would probably know, at least going into that. You can make your adjustments after that. You being the fantasy football stalwart that you are.
Yeah, Right. I mean, this was a surprise. I mean, Jaden Reed, there was nothing with Jaden Reed on the injury report until today, and nothing that was indicated until after practice that suddenly he's been added to the report. He's now questionable. What that means is impossible for us to decipher. And honestly, as you said, unless there is an adjustment made to the injury report on Saturday, which does happen at times, we're just going to have to wait until that 90 minutes before kickoff when the inactives are announced. Is Jaden Reed good to go or not? That's when we're going to find out, as we will find out, presumably, with Jordan Love as well.
Just take solace in the fact that you weren't trying to start Christian McCaffrey last week in the Monday Night Football game after all your other running backs had played. That's what yours truly ended up doing. But we still won, so it was fun. All right, Rick Harris, do you think we'll see more Bullard and Williams this week? Well, we saw a lot of Javon Bullard last week. But Evan Williams, the question was asked by Rob Domofsky, and as basically everybody said who was asked about it, whether it be Matt LaFleur or also defensive coordinator Jeff Hafley, Evan Williams, it sounds like, is going to get some opportunities in this game. What those will be, what those packages will look like, we'll see. But when you take it on scale, Mike, not even look at the fact that we're talking about a rookie fourth-round pick here, the way that he performed throughout that training camp, I would argue Evan Williams was one of the most consistent performers on the defensive side of the ball throughout camp. I think led Green Bay in terms of the interception numbers in camp.
Yeah, he did.
The Packers last week, with the way they schemed things up, there weren't any dime calls, there weren't any 6 DB packages, so he didn't play defensively. But with everything he put together in the camp that he had, you would stand to reason that he's going to get some type of look in this game against the Colts.
Yeah, Jeff Hafley said it on Thursday after practice that they feel like they need to find a role for Evan Williams to get him on the field, to give him opportunities to play. Because he's earned that, and B, because they feel if they give him opportunities, they want to see what he does with them and see if he potentially earns more. So I do think we're going to see Evan Williams on the field for more than just special teams in this game, but how many snaps is it going to be? What exactly is the role going to be? They aren't going to reveal that ahead of time, and they might have something all planned out, and then who knows? Things can always change just the way the game goes as well. Yep. So we'll have to see. But Evan Williams is going to be on the field on defense, I believe, sooner than later.
All right, James Mayer, how will the defense play against a mobile but young quarterback with a strong arm? More zone, quarters, man, mix it up? What would be your game plan for trying to match up with the enigma that is Anthony Richardson?
Honestly, I think the game plan doesn't need to be that much different than what it was against Jalen Hurts in terms of trying to contain the dual threat quarterback, because to me there's nothing more demoralizing as a defense than for everybody to do their jobs, everything to be to happen the way you want it to happen, and then the quarterback just takes off and runs for 15 yards and moves the chains on 3rd and 8 or whatever, right? So I don't think the game plan has to change that much, but the Packers do need to execute things a little bit. They need to tackle better, for one, whether that's against Richardson, whether that's against Jonathan Taylor in the running game. The Packers have to tackle better. Matt LaFleur talked about, they had some alignment errors where guys were lining up at the snap in the wrong spot. And of course, a quarterback like Jalen Hurts is going to spot that, and he's going to exploit that. And the Eagles did, and they gashed the Packers a couple times when somebody simply didn't line up correctly. So those are the things that the Packers need to fix. And then on top of that, they actually talked about, even though the Packers got 3 takeaways on defense, which was a really nice start in that category, both Matt LaFleur and Jeff Hafley felt the defense should have had more. They had opportunities for more. Keyshawn Nixon, maybe had a shot at a pick 6 on the ball by the sideline. They talked about a couple of the hits they got on Jalen Hurts where, they hit Jalen Hurts, but nobody went for the ball. The ball was exposed, and nobody went after it to knock it out of his hand. So those are the things that they're harping on defense, much more so than just the scheming, the X's and O's part of things.
Totally. A couple more minutes here on Packers Preview. Again, he's Mike Spofford. Wes Hockwitz taking a look ahead at the Green Bay Packers home opener against the Indianapolis Colts. News Central start time on Fox. Good question from Joe here on YouTube. Who needs to be the star of this game with Love out? He's assuming Love is out. Let's play again that hypothetical that Love is not available. Or even if he is, working himself through the knee injury. Jacobs, Reed, or Kraft, as far as the run speed game or deep shots, short passes underneath. Again, what would be your game plan, and who do you think needs to step up if Jordan Love is unavailable or somewhat limited.
Yeah, I mean, it's a collective effort, right? I mean, the Packers.
I wrote a whole story on it today.
Yeah, the Packers need and want to get the running game going sooner. I mean, quarter 2 through quarter 4 in Brazil, the Packers running game was doing what they wanted it to do, but that slow start in the first quarter definitely hampered things offensively. So you want to get Josh Jacobs going a lot sooner than you did against the Eagles. As far as the receivers go, I mean, if Jaden Reed is maybe not 100% or possibly even is down for this game, I mean, Romeo Doubs, we saw him have the big games in the playoffs last year. We've seen Christian Watson go off and have big games. Dontavian Wicks is certainly capable of that. Tucker Kraft, Luke Musgrave, there are plenty of weapons that the Packers can turn to, whether it's Love or Willis at quarterback. And just, it's the old saying, right, Wes, that when a guy gets a chance, you have to make the most of it, because then that's how you earn more chances. That's how you earn the trust of your teammates, the trust of your coaches. So when the ball comes somebody's way, they got to make the play.
Chang on YouTube. Cooper will be our run stopper Sunday. Let the guy play. And honestly, Mike, that kind of was the message that both Matt LaFleur and Jeff Hafley said this week. There is going to be this balance. I'm writing about it in Insider Inbox for tomorrow. This balance between making sure that Edgerrin Cooper is where he needs to be with knowledge of the defense, and also just letting the rookie play after he missed so much time, 3 weeks camp, all 3 preseason games. But my goodness, 3 tackles, a pass deflection on 11 defensive snaps. You had to edit my story. I mean, some of those statistics and snap counts for some of these guys that were pillars of the Packers defense, how little they played right out of the gate and what kind of impact they had, or in some cases lack thereof right out of the gate. What Edgerrin Cooper did, I thought definitely spoke to his overall athleticism and why the Green Bay Packers wanted to take him where they did, making him the first inside linebacker to go off the board in the 2024 NFL Draft.
Yeah, and it's not just the statistics in those 11 snaps, but what it looked like, right?
Yes.
I mean, the speed always just jumps off the field when Edgerrin Cooper is out there. So yes, it's extremely unfortunate that he missed so much time in training camp with the hip injury and was not able to play in any of the preseason games. The Packers were aiming to get him healthy. Hearing from Matt LaFleur on Thursday after practice, he pretty much made it sound like the plan was to play Cooper a lot more than he ended up playing in Brazil, but he had a misalignment issue early in the game. It was when Saquon Barkley ran to the right for an 11-yard touchdown. Cooper was lined up in the wrong spot, so then he went to the bench for a while, but then they put him back in the game, and you saw the impact later on. So Edgerrin Cooper is going to be a big part of this defense. It's just the timeline has been pushed back a little bit because he missed so much time in training camp. But this young man is going to play, and he's going to play a lot in the long run here.
And as Matt LaFleur said, too, it's not just on him. There's a lot of guys on the defensive side of the ball that can help him get comfortable, know his assignment, and move on from there. Okay, a couple more minutes here. Olivia Grover, not Olivia Glover. It's Olivia Grover. What rookie do you predict will really stand out in this game on Sunday? In addition to the fact we just touched on Edgerrin Cooper, and in addition to the fact we also had mentioned earlier with Evan Williams, I'm really interested to see where things go with Jordan Morgan.
Yep,
Green Bay Packers.
That was the guy I was just going to say.
Well,
absolutely.
Back down, Spofford. I got him. No, but I mean, like, the fact is that the Packers have worked these rotations at guard. And I know everybody points to last year with John Runyon Jr. and Sean Ryan, and that was the one that was sustainable throughout the second half. But the Green Bay Packers have been doing this since year 1, game 2, under Matt LaFleur. The original plan when they came in with Elton Jenkins was he was rotating with Lane Taylor.
Right.
So many people forget that because of the 2-time Pro Bowl player that Elton turned into, but that was his entry into the NFL as well. Now, the Green Bay Packers would love to see either Ryan or Morgan take that position by its horns and really run with it, but a 2-1-2 situation where they rotated 2 series for Ryan, 1 for Morgan, 2 for Ryan, and so on and so forth, has allowed the first-round pick, again, another rookie that had to deal with an injury out of the gate, has allowed him to start to get his feet wet as the Packers look at him being a potential piece with this offensive line.
Again, it's another guy just like Cooper whose timeline has been delayed because of an injury in training camp, and with him not being 100% healthy in the preseason, the Packers weren't going to put him into the preseason action. They were protecting him in that sense, as much as they wanted him to get preseason snaps to get ready, to be in a better position for the regular season. health came first. And so his timeline has been pushed back a little bit, but the Packers like what they have in Jordan Morgan. They like what he can bring to the right guard position, working there next to Zach Tom on the right side. And hey, however long it takes for Jordan Morgan to get to where the Packers want him to be, Sean Ryan is a heck of a football player, and you can do a lot worse than have Sean Ryan be your sixth man on the offensive line if that's how this ultimately shakes out after the next few weeks.
And what happened on that play, unfortunately, where Jordan Love got hurt? The same thing happened with Josh Myers cramping up there. He had to exit the game. Elton Jenkins went to center, and you had Sean Ryan moving over to left guard. Sean Ryan is a very important piece for what could
100%.
potentially be that next man up role with this offensive line.
100%.
I know we got to get going here, and there's a lot of people that have to go do a lot of things, but I think this is a good question from Todd Runge. If you haven't read our stories, I want to address it. Wondering if they can this was on Facebook, wondering if they can let the rookie field goal kicker inside Lambeau to kick a few so he has a feel for kicking there. They've already done it. And as it turns out, the first practice that Braden Narveson ever had was inside Lambeau Field. It was the Thursday before they traveled on that extra week. Matt LaFleur held, as they said, it was a mock scrimmage type deal where he was kicking into the wind. He was seeing all the elements, everything that Lambeau Field has to offer since the south end zone got closed off.
Except maybe the snow, but
Except the snow, what it could offer in August at least. But the fact is that Narveson does get those reps. They do go in there from time to time. That won't be a new thing to him other than the fact that there weren't other human beings, 80,000 of them, watching on.
Yeah, I mean, I would imagine whether he's already done so this week or if it's going to be today or maybe even tomorrow, he's going to get a chance to go out there again. And then there'll obviously be all of the warm-up time on Sunday morning leading up to kickoff, where he gets to get a feel for his range, what the conditions are. He can tell the coaches, all right, I feel good up to this distance today. Let's go. Braden Narveson, he'll be set to go.
Couple things here. Nick Gajewski from Pulaski asking, can I ask where you're filling up on perch tonight? Come on, Mike. You'll eventually have an answer to this.
No, I just don't make the plans this far in advance. Like,
it's 3:28, man, on a Friday. When do you make them?
When I go home.
I sometimes plan a little bit ahead. I'm going down to Madison. I think I'm maybe getting some Mexican food down in Madison tonight.
Oh, there you go. Pedro's?
No, Bel Air Cantina, I guess,
okay.
in the square. My buddy Michael's out. Michael Cohen, former Packers beat writer.
Say hi to Michael for me.
I will absolutely do that. He is covering the Wisconsin-Bama game, and I'm going to go grab some food with him. Go to the farmer's market tomorrow, and maybe, just maybe, go to the Wisconsin-Bama game, although that still continues to be up in the air. That was a bad turnaround for me to be chastising you for not having your plans for Friday Night Fish, and I don't know whether or not I'm going to the Wisconsin game or not tomorrow. That kind of goes as it is, though. You know what else is happening tomorrow, and I want to throw a line in here before I ask for your key to victory. The Green Bay Packers and the Lambeau Field hosting a free concert featuring the Counting Crows. I'm hoping to be there 5 p.m. Central start time outside of Lambeau Field in the northwest side of the parking lot. Very, very fun festivity. Our game presentation, everybody on that side, I think, does a tremendous job with that. They've had Train in the past. I think was a Collective Soul has been here, Stone Temple Pilots, having Counting Crows here. Somebody had asked, I think it was actually Stephen Huddy from our social department, asked what my favorite Counting Crows song is. Baby, I'm a Big Star Now. They've never played it in concert. I would have absolutely given at least a portion of my contract for them to be able to force Counting Crows to play that at Lambeau Field on Saturday, but regardless, I am going to be there. Michael, the Green Bay Packers, taking on the Indianapolis Colts, trying to get to 1-1 on the season. There's a lot of questions, a lot of uncertainty. What do they have to do to get this thing done?
I mean, we've talked all about what's going on at quarterback and the receivers and getting the running game going, and all of that certainly matters. And there is a lot of uncertainty as exactly how that's going to shake out. To me, honestly, I flip it to the other side. This Packers defense has to have a bounce back, has to have a rebound game. 400-plus yards and 34 points against the Philadelphia Eagles is not what they had in mind for the debut of Jeff Hafley's unit. And for as much as the Packers offense missed opportunities, bogged down in the red zone, kicked field goals instead of finishing drives with touchdowns, 29 points needs to be enough to win football games. The Packers giving up 34 is not going to cut it. The defense needs to bounce back, needs to give this offense, whether it's a slowed down Jordan Love or a new guy in Malik Willis running it, have to give this offense a better chance to win this game and not ask them to score that many points.
Mike, do you know who could help the defense achieve that? Xavier McKinney, who is on our cover of this week's Game Day program alongside fellow unrestricted free agent signing Josh Jacobs. This cover, myself, Nicole Tim Chapman, putting this thing together.
Nicely done.
Kind of in the 11th hour. Was going to be in a couple weeks, but we had to push it up with the Jordan Love uncertainty.
Yep.
Either way, very excited to have this. Picked this up at Lambeau Field on Sunday. Also, Doris Pringle wanted to see if Mike could turn his hat backward to see your face. You want to turn your hat backward for the fans? Yeah! There you go. That's how we're going to end this thing. He's Mike Spofford, Wes Hockwitz. We thank you guys as always for joining us on Packers Preview, presented by Microsoft Surface. Stay tuned to Packers.com and the Packers mobile app throughout the weekend. We will have tons of stories. I already wrote several of them, including a feature on Edgerrin Cooper getting his feet wet in the NFL. Also, the Packers and their complementary skill position players on offense being ready to potentially step up for Malik Willis. Mike's One Last Look column also will be running on Saturday on Packers.com. But until next time, for Mike, I'm Wes. We'll see you later.